And we are live.
Good morning, everyone. It's the one and only V, the Guerrilla Economist, coming to you live on another edition of Rogue Money Mornings with my main man, CJ. Working the airwaves, making sure this broadcast is coming out crispy and clean. You can check us out at roguemoney.net, Rogue Money on Facebook, DTube, Steam at every single podcasting app known to humanity, and Rogue Money on, whatever else you can find us on. Rogue Money Apple News. There you go. Okay, there. We're everywhere. We're everywhere, man.
Yeah, everywhere. And if you're an MP3 fan, then you can, definitely jump on iTunes or SoundCloud.
SoundCloud, we're there. Our reach is pretty expensive. I think right now our unique impressions per month of people is anywhere between 850 to 1.1 million. And that is our total network reach. So when you look at our suppressed YouTube channel, which is struggling to get to 15,000 subs, CJ, even though we have close to 5 million views on the channel, bro.
Yeah, they've completely altered the algos. They
oh my god.
You want to talk about like some of the different, alt news channels, even when you're subscribed, you don't even get some of the videos that are released.
No, you don't. And I love, getting emails from people. We have hundreds of people that would subscribe, and then, a day or two later be like, hey, I subscribed to your channel. I have to resubscribe because somebody unsubscribed me. It is what it is.
Yeah, it is.
Network reach is still growing. So again, find us on roguemoney.net. Let roguemoney.net be the hub where you find us, because that's where things are going to be going as the culling is coming to YouTube. So I just want to give all of you a heads up. We don't know who's going to be standing and who's going to be remaining. The talks are through the grapevine with some well-planted sources that we have. There is a culling. And a lot of the channels that you are used to watching will no longer be here. They will be gone. Okay, so that's the next round for YouTube. So we're going to keep doing this as long as we can until see whatever happens. But eventually, the total migration has to be to, it has to be the website. It has to be roguemoney.net. And people will say, well, why do a channel like this offer services? You honestly think this is it's the only way to pay your bills, man? It's the only way to pay your bills. If we don't have affiliates and services and this, that, and the other, you're dead in the water. You're dead in the water. You cannot count on YouTube revenue, Google Ads revenue. You can't count on any of that. You have to be creative. You have to come out with real solutions. And Siege, tomorrow's 420, so there's going to be some real solutions that are going to be talked about, man. Why don't you talk about 420 real quick, man? And what we got lined up?
Yeah,
let's want the appetite just a little bit.
Real quick. Yeah, so we're super excited, and we've been working on this for about a year and a half, and obviously with either licensing or state regulations, to bring this together. And most people now know about CBD and cannabinoids, the endocannabinoid system, how it works within your body, and how for so many years it's been suppressed for you because we just have not had those cannabinoids into the body with CBD. So right now, I don't even call it a fad because there's still so much space in that industry. Most people are more familiar with CBD oil. It's kind of like the thing right now. Hey, CBD oil, CBD oil. My thing is that when you take a look at the CBD oil, it's, full spectrum CBD. Obviously there's different ways of delivering that into your system. It's such a high concentrate that you don't want to, as far as like long-term use, just for, in particular, I'm not a doctor, but most of the things that I've read is that you want to be careful with CBDs because too much intake can actually build up some resistance to your receptors, and that's why CBD is better as far as a regimen, like a vitamin. So from that perspective, that's why we are going to be introducing some low dose, high quality gourmet CBD edibles. There's nothing else like this. I've searched the internet. We even went to Chicago, and we're going to work with a particular producer of CBD edibles, and they were supposed to be one of the better ones in the industry, right?
It was trash.
We were going to contract out. We were going to contract out having our product made, and literally, when we walked away from that conversation, we're like, we got to go back to the drawing board because our edibles are going to be made. They're small batch. They're made from scratch. They're handmade and just high quality. So we'll be having a wonderful white chocolate pecan truffle that, I'm not kidding you, are just everyone that has one, they're like, oh, can I have more? When can I buy these?
Yeah.
And these are going to be at price points. They're going to be ideal. So, $19.99, $24.99. We're not going to be selling like the CBD oil that's sometimes upwards of $100. It gets pretty pricey at that concentrate. We're also going to have a granola snack that is like a granola bar that has the CBD infused in it. And this is proper infusing. This isn't just taking CBD oil and saying I'm making a good with it, because when you use full spectrum CBD oil, there's a lot of residue. There's a lot of different flavors and tastes that oil brings in. So that's why we don't use CBD oil in particular to do our edibles. We're also going to be offering CBD infused coffee. So CBD infused coffee, 10 milligrams of CBD per cup of coffee, low dose. It's great to get into your diet on a regular basis. So there'll be, various products. We have a Buckeye, a chocolate Buckeye, just peanut butter inside, chocolate around it, CBD infused. So we're very excited. So tomorrow on 420, I'm going to get our partners involved that help us with this, V. And we're going to be doing a show. We'll be kicking off the site and taking pre-orders. We're about 2 weeks away from production. But just to kind of help us, because like I said, for our audience has to understand that these are made from scratch. These are not poured into a machine and spit it out and package it. These are customized, very gourmet CBD edibles that you won't find anywhere else. So for that reason, we need to do some pre-orders. We need to understand what quantities we're going to be looking at from the kitchen start to make sure that we're able to have enough ingredients, fill the needs, and then ultimately just keep delivering high quality products. So stay tuned right here, Rogue 420. And this all helps the flagship of Rogue. You want to talk about how diversifying we are in terms of our revenue, in terms of offering products and services that help fund, our company, our media company. This is it, and we'll be managing these all in-house. So there won't be any type of quality control issues. The people that you hear in part on Rogue will be the people involved. So that's what makes it very, very unique for our market.
Absolutely. I'm excited about it. I mean, everything from the terpenes-based mints, the truffles, the granola, the all these awesome baked products. It's going to be fantastic, high quality. It's not just taking some CBD oil, throwing into a batter, and then baking it. It's far beyond that. It's more structurally applied, so you get the full benefits of the CBD that's in there. It's going to be great. It's going to be great for everybody, adults, kids, and we even got doggy treats coming, right?
Oh yeah, I forgot about the doggy treats. Yeah, I pushed out on social media our feeds last night to take a look at this edible, and to look at this and say, is this treat made? Is this for a person or for a pet? Because I'm not kidding you, a person could eat these doggy treats. They are just gourmet. They are made with peanut butter, hardened peanut butter, which dogs like, for their teeth. But in the center, we take banana and cinnamon. And, that's where the infusing process begins as far as the actual CBD into it. So these CBDs we've had from our sample and our test groups that went out. Some of my friends have had dogs that are, kind of hyper, which dogs sometimes are. But they have just came back and said, you know what, I can tell a difference. It's, my dog is calmer, is a little bit more, relaxed. And there's no euphoric that, I gave somebody one samples one time for their dog. Is this my dog going to get high from this bee? That's what he said. Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. So these doggy treats are just stellar. They're top of the line. And I just can't overemphasize that once you see this product and you get it in your hands and then you go, I challenge anyone, go to a website, go look at some of the product that's out there, some of the packaging, you'll be like, yeah, Rogue did it right. They went over the top on this line. So we're that excited about it, V.
Yeah, man. I'm really pumped about it. I'm looking forward to it. Without a doubt, looking forward to it. So it's a great addition to the Rogue media family. So we're happy to bring this out. So we're very excited about it. That being said, brother. With that being said, what do you want to get into, bro? What do you want to get into? Now there's the number one article that's up there. I don't know if I want to get into that or not because
that might be a gorilla.
Yeah, it's my whole thing is it's what I talk about all the time. Once I really look at it, the whole multipolar world is something and that I always talk about. And let's just skip over that one.
Let's talk a little bit about Mike Pompeo.
Let's talk about that. That's a hot topic.
Kim Jong-un, and because we all know that Mike Pompeo here pretty soon is going to be going through a pretty testy Senate confirmation, and right now one of the ones that's standing out big time is Rand Paul. Rand Paul says that at this point I don't plan to support his nomination, and for to take the lead of the greatest the State Department, and so right now what we have is kind of a politicizing around Pompeo, some strategy regarding his background and some of the things. I mean, he's from the CIA, and we heard yesterday that Pompeo had actually met with Kim Jong-un. And I'm going to put my tinfoil hat and say, hey, if you think about this and think about the timing, he met over Easter, he left his family to go do all this. It's very strategic that they came out with this, because now it's going to be hard for, a guy that's brokered peace, that's involved with the negotiation. So they're going to leverage that to get people like Rand Paul, some of the maybe the GOP that weren't going to support him, to say, hey, look, he's in the heat of this battle with this discussions. You do need to support him. Look, he's met with Kim Jong-un. He's already making great accomplishments. So I'm not saying the meeting didn't take place. I'm just questioning the timing of them, releasing this for, for political reasons regarding the meeting that supposedly, took place over Easter. The other thing that we see is, which, really, it didn't confuse me. Give me a second, V, just to get the right screens brought up real quick for our audience. But the other thing that kind of confused me a little bit was, was Kelly Conway came out, and she specifically stated that, and she's talking primarily to the Democrats, that Mike Pompeo has high praise from the likes of Madeleine Albright and Hillary Clinton, and they support his nomination.
This is my problem with the pompous Pompeo. There's such a state of confusion as to what the hell's really going on behind the scenes. I have no clue. Kellyanne Conway cites Hillary Clinton in search for Pompeo. I mean, Jesus. Madeline Halfbright. You see, what's funny is the problems. I don't know if that's a move to make the Democrats more happy so they can vote Pompeo in. I don't know if that's the strategy, but let me remind you folks about something. Let me remind you about a certain Madeline Halfbright. Okay, Madeline Halfbright is the reason why we have the problems in the Korean Peninsula. Madeline Halfbright is the one that opened the doors that allowed the transfer of nuclear technology under the Clinton administration to go into North Korea. She was the facilitator of that whole entire deal, where we basically gave them a 25-year jump in their nuclear technology and their nuclear weapons development. It is Madeline Halfbright. Okay, so if we're talking about citing Madeline Halfbright and Hillary Clinton as positives for a Mike Pompeo vote in, that is worrisome. I don't know what the angle is. It just doesn't mean anything. Former Democratic Secretaries of State Madeleine Albright and Hillary Clinton each have shown praise for Mr. Pompeo and his noted desire to improve the morale of the State Department and support the career staff that is so important. Now, did she say that as a strategy? As a strategy? Because that's the only thing I would say. Because
right. Yeah,
it makes no sense to invoke the Hillary Clinton Madeleine Albright thing unless, again, we're getting played. But there's a lot of evidence that is coming to the surface that things are not always what they seem to be, and in fact, there is a counter move that is being played out on the geopolitical chessboard. Again, I am no fan of pompous Pompeo. I think his understanding of geopolitics is dismal at best. I think look. most of the guys that are in the Washington, D.C. foreign policy development groups, okay, they are obsolete, they are archaic, they are very dumb. Okay, they think they're smart, they're stuck on stupid. They're not, they have not, their foreign policy, folks, is stuck in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. It hasn't adjusted to a new multipolar world where the U.S. is calling the shot, where the U.S. is not calling the shots. It hasn't adjusted to that. Because it hasn't adjusted. Okay, that is why the U.S. does not have an answer for the One Belt, One Road initiative. That is why in every single white paper put out by pretty much every single think tank, whether it's RAND, whether it's the CFR, whether it's you name it, whatever. Okay, all these different think tanks that are out there. Not a single mention of the One Belt, One Road. Nowhere. It's never talked about in mainstream. Why? Because the think tanks formulate the policies that are debated and talked about by the politicians, which are then in turn plastered on the media. Okay, that's just the way it is. No one talks about it. You don't hear of people. You go to Washington, D.C. today, I can interview you 10 senators and 10 congressmen. And I guarantee you, damn near 10 out of 10 have no clue about the One Belt, One Road initiative, have no clue of the modern state of the world. Do you understand? This is problematic, folks. This is very, very problematic. Okay? You talk to an average politician in the U.S., they still think China's biggest economic sector are sweatshops that make Nike sneakers. They don't understand that it's gone beyond sweatshops into actual manufacturing, into actual technology, where the bleeding edge of technology. They don't understand that fact. They don't understand any of it. And then whatever China does produce, it is by prejudice and by bias, okay, by prejudice and by bias, deemed second class or low quality. Okay, and granted, there's a lot of, quite a few things that are Chinese and low quality, but I've seen things that are incredible quality, with incredible craftsmanship, with bleeding edge technology. These things exist, but it's discounted. It's because it doesn't fit our prejudice. It doesn't fit our Western, quote unquote, narrative. So what happens? You have a giant circle jerk echo chamber. That is what Washington, D.C. and the Washington, D.C. politicians are all about. A giant circle jerk echo chamber. And you got a few guys like Rand Paul, who get the fact that we have a murderous foreign policy. Okay? A murderous foreign policy. See, your take.
Yeah, I mean, and then that's exactly, what we're seeing is the administration needs a win, and that's how they look at it with Pompeo. Any type of defeat regarding his nomination would be looked at and construed as a very negative thing for administration that's trying so hard to win at certain things. So I think in part that's why we're witnessing this come out. We're watching them. I mean, there was even speculation that Pompeo was preparing, for his confirmation, and he is so pompous. Like I would punch the guy. He's just such a pompous, arrogant SOB. During his confirmation with his little smirks and his responses, and yeah, he is so stuck on himself. Yep. And that's why I oppose it so much. But in part, there was speculation that Pompeo actually called Hillary Clinton for advice on the confirmation hearing. So they're completely politicizing this, and this isn't how it should be. And I think that's why in part they came out with this whole thing with Pompeo already meeting with Kim Jong-un back on Easter. He gave up his family time and left over Easter to go visit. So GOP vote for him now. And to the Dems, Madeleine Albright, who said that 500,000 dead children was worth it in Iraq, was asked point blank that question, and she said, yes, it was worth it. Those are the people that Kellyanne Conway is saying they back Pompeo. So audience, how good do you feel about that?
Yeah.
Ask yourself that question. How good do you feel about that?
Right. The other thing real quick is this as well, man. Okay. This whole Pompeo broker. Look, we all know the only reason why the situation in North Korea quieted down. London Paul made emphasis of this several times. It's because of Xi. It's because of Putin.
Bingo.
That is why things have gotten quiet. Of course, Xi and Putin doesn't fit the narrative of the tyrannical nut jobs that are in Washington, D.C., so they have to put it on somebody. Oh, look, the virtuous, pompous Pompeo who gave up Easter to go to North Korea. I would take that with a grain of salt. You're telling me the murderous foreign policy. Siege, has any military bases closed overseas?
None. Not that I'm aware of. No.
You know, I'm gonna do a Google search right now, right? How many wars is the US in right now? Okay. How many? Okay. This is from Foreign Policy. And what is this? Oh, that's from 2013. That doesn't count. List of wars involving the United States. No, we need to get to the modern century here. Give me a second, folks. See, no military bases have closed, right?
Again, not to my knowledge. I mean, right. we continued the war, in Afghanistan. The latest strikes in Syria and in Ukraine. I mean, I imagine that we're still at the doorsteps of Russia with that influence. I'm trying to pick, some specific area where we have, changed our foreign policy a little bit, in the last year and a half, and I can't think of a whole lot right now. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm missing something.
All right. Well, here's the deal. We're involved in military operations in North and West Pakistan. We're still in Iraq. We're still in Afghanistan. Okay. We're still in Somalia. We have interventions all the way up in Somalia, Ethiopia, Niger. Okay, where the Green Berets were killed. Okay, we're involved in shenanigans in Syria. We're involved in shenanigans in Yemen. We're involved in shenanigans in Libya still. Okay, it's still going on. We're still out there destabilizing the entire planet. So, you really think Pompeo would have done this? Pompeo left his family on Easter to go there and get this done? No. I get it. I understand maybe there's a strategy to saying that Pompeo brokered the deal. Maybe there's a strategy to say that. Maybe it's to quell the neocons. See, we got to look at it from multiple angles because we don't know what the hell's going on. Okay, we don't know what the hell's going on. But the truth is this. The truth is, at the end of the day, it wasn't the U.S. Administration that really got things to quiet down. Just like it's not the U.S. Look, this is the same administration that says, we've won in Syria. We destroyed ISIS. If you believe Pompeo is the one that brokered the North Korean deal, then you also have to believe that it was the United States that ended ISIS in Syria.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, this is fantasy.
Yeah.
This is fantasy and high fiction. Okay, the fantasy and high fiction. If you believe that Pompeo brokered the deal in North Korea, then you gotta believe that the U.S. is the one that ended ISIS. That's nonsense. Okay, so I would not even. Whatever. I'm glad there's going to be a forum. I'm glad the end result is denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. That's a good thing. Okay, but I think there's more to it than this window dressing of Pompeo fixing anything. Pompeo couldn't fix it. He couldn't fix Pompeo fixing anything is a joke. It just come on, Pompeo fixing Jesus.
Yeah. And
anyway, meanwhile,
real quick, another couple of hot topics that have came up like here recently is regarding with this FEC lawsuit that hit regarding the complaint with the DNC and Clinton. And I used to be involved in with a political PAC, and a lot of people are celebrating this. Well, the FEC doesn't have any type of criminal prosecution that it could occur with them. I mean, the courts have already ruled that the DNC had the right to choose Clinton over Bernie during that time period. So the worst thing that would happen with this, if the FEC decided to crack down on the Clintons or DNC, would probably be fines. The Federal Election Commission wouldn't have any type of criminal prosecution. And the other thing that came up here recently also, and I'm not trying to be a naysayer. I know that we keep looking for a clear sign, and I'm hoping, and I'm going somewhere with this conversation. So give me just a minute. That the criminal referral issued for Comey, Clinton, Lynch, and McCabe, Rosenstein recusal demanded, and this is the list of the 11 GOP members of Congress who went forth and wrote a letter to Attorney Jeff Sessions demanding criminal investigations. This is something for us to champion and for us to get behind. And what I mean by that is we really need to be pushing the administration to hold Jeff Sessions accountable for beginning criminal prosecutions against these individuals. But until he does so, Congress and Senate can write all the stinking letters that they want. They have certain powers to them, but criminally to prosecute, they need Jeff Sessions to step up. And what I'm fearing, V, is that, and I didn't take these thoughts for myself. I listened to a great podcast the other day that was discussing, Paul Ryan's resignation, and there's been a lot of speculation as to why and why is he doing this.
2020, that's why
he's the third person in charge. Yeah, he's definitely playing on something, but there's also something more eye-opening that I think that we need to consider. Is that, think of this, and I never thought about it until this podcast, but he is anticipating the changing of the guard. He's anticipating the 2018 midterms that the GOP will lose the House.
Yep. And
who in their right mind is going to support or vote for someone in the future as president of a person who lost the House in the time that there was a GOP president and a GOP held Senate, right? So it really harms his resume by staying in position. So where I'm going with this whole thing regarding the criminal referral, the investigations, is that we can't wait to the midterms, because they're going to push this forth. And if 2018, if the Democrats get the GOP or get the House or the Senate, I guarantee you they're going to move forward and try to find some way of trying to do some type of articles of impeachment, something for Donald J. Trump. And that's why he needs to move fast now. He needs to, one of two things, either fire Mueller or fire Jeff Sessions and put someone in who's going to prosecute these people. I see people comment in the post that say all we do is regurgitate the news and the stories that are out there. Well, we're providing analysis right here. We're telling you specifically what needs to happen. So hashtag, fire Sessions, hashtag fire Mueller. We have to push this administration and get them a sense of that this needs to be done. It can't wait, V. It needs to be done now.
Yeah, absolutely correct, man. Absolutely correct. It needs to be done now. What happened? Remember the whole Nunez memo, right? The sword of Damocles was supposed to fall when the Nunez memo came out. When what occurred? Nothing. It was a little ballyhoo here and there, and then you didn't hear about it ever since then. You haven't heard anything about it. Okay, so now we have this referral. It's a recommendation for prosecution, and typically what it would do, this would start kicking the football, start moving the ball down the court in order to get this prosecution done. Let's see how and what happens. Let's see if Jeff Constitutional Crisis, a.k.a. Mr. Magoo, a.k.a. Reefer Madness Sessions, completely blocks this. If Sessions blocks this referral, then you would know 100% unequivocally Sessions is a fraud. A fraud. He is part of the problem, or he's a gutless twit. A gutless twit. Let's see what happens, folks. After all, wasn't not this month named the month of arrests, CJ?
Yeah, it was named the month of arrest, and this letter that came out from these representatives is a good sign to put pressure on session. So it's clearly time that he needs to act. I mean, listen, these charges that were put forth by these representatives, they just scratch the surface. Okay, they just barely scratch the surface of the corruption that our audience that we know about. So there's no reason at all. I mean, this is a safe space for Sessions to operate in. Okay, there's clear evidence that's been provided to the House, to the Senate, to the oversight committees. Clear evidence, but that's been presented to the Inspector General of the corruption that occurred with this. So the only answer is prosecution at this point.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Exactly. Let's cover one more thing, and we'll call it a day.
You pick. I've been hogging the time today.
No, it's all good. I've been feeling like low energy Jeb Bush. We haven't seen the sun here in New York since
I had my CBD edibles yesterday, V. That's what it was. I had shameless plug, but I had my CBD edibles yesterday.
See, I need to get energized, man. I need to feel fired up, brother. Like Hulk Hogan would say.
Right.
All right, IMF sounds the alarm. This is from our guys over at Zero Hedge. IMF sounds the alarm on global debt, warns United States stands out. Exactly 1 year ago in its global financial stability report, the IMF issued a stark warning when looking at the soaring levels of private sector debt, and they found out that more than 20% of U.S. corporations are at risk of default once interest rates rise, and calculated that the combined assets of the firms threatened by default and those whose earnings do not cover their interest expenses could reach almost $4 trillion. Fast forward exactly 1 year to today when the IMF once again sounded the alarm on debt, only this time on the public side of the ledger, warning that about what else? Excessive global borrowing, and noting that with a total of $164 trillion worth of debt, or 225% of global GDP. In other words, folks, things are horrible. And number one, CJ, number one on the list is who else? The United States. Number one. It's incredible. We are right now our debt is 107, almost 108% of the GDP. And when you count the derivatives and you count everything else, it blows that out of the water. Okay, we're damn near approaching 150% of GDP. Serious issues are ahead. And it's getting worse.
Yeah, we're blowing through right now about $500 billion a month in debt.
Yep.
Every month. Think about that. $500 billion. Is that sustainable?
Oh, yeah. It's just completely sustainable. And it makes so much sense, CJ. It makes so much sense,
And not only that, V, we have oil prices coming up. I'm not sure if last time you filled up or not, but I had to do a double take when I looked up. It's it went up like 50 or 60 cents, and that's gonna hit the middle class. I mean,
I fueled up my German V8 Uber coupe, and I looked at the I'm like, what the hell? Yep, it's up. And we're going up to, I estimate it's going to go up to $70 to $80 a barrel before it starts coming back down again. Such is the state of this world. So it's rising oil rates, okay? Yet nobody's buying oil because there's less dollars chasing oil. People are using other instruments. Interest rates going up. Still a very high unemployment numbers. Unemployment numbers are still, I'd say probably in the, my God, I'd say probably in the high 20s. It's still in a bad situation. Nothing gets done. Why? Because you got libtards that politically are resisting any sort of economic change or development that needs to get done. They're fighting it. It's problematic. Very problematic. And with that being said, Siege, we're at the end of the show, my man.
Yeah, absolutely. So 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to have Harley Schlinger on. I posted in the chat room earlier, people were asking if he's going to be on. He is. We're going to switch things around a little bit. Last week, we had a lot of lag with Harley, so we're going to switch things around so the audio should be cleaned up. So stay tuned. We also, at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, everyone's favorite Cuss with Gus. will be coming on, and I'm sure he's gonna be having some exciting things to say. V, and then don't forget, go to roguemoney.net, check out all the great work of our contributors, and we appreciate everyone's support. So show the love, like, and subscribe.
Absolutely. And with that being said, we're over now. Take it away, El Cuco.